Hello. In the last part, we have discussed about aggregate analysis, where we have seen the example of stack operation, right? And we perform aggregate analysis on that stack operations. In this part, we are going to see another example, which we are going to call binary counter, and we are also going to perform the aggregate analysis on the operations of binary counter. Okay. So, what is a binary counter? So, from the course of digital and analog circuits, you probably have the idea what a counter is, right? So, if you can remember from there, a counter is a suppose there is a n-bit counter, so it means that there will be n bits which will be used as a bit string to count the values. Okay. Now there was some trigger, right? So whenever the counter was triggered, the value of the counter is going to be incremented by 1. Okay. So here what we are going to do, we are basically implementing the circuit as a logical entity. Okay. So we are basically trying to implement a binary counter programmatically. So what we will have here, so to represent n bit, we can have a n bit I mean counter. Okay. So we'll have a k bit counter over here that will count upwards from 0. So initially the counter value will be 0. Okay. And then it will count upwards. Now the question is, how can we represent the k bit binary counter? So how the k bits will be represented? So the k bits will be represented by an array of size k. Okay. Now the array will be indexed from 0 to k minus 1, and as you know that any binary string will have MSB or most significant bit and LSB or least significant bit. So in this configuration of the array, we'll consider the A0, okay, or the 0th element is our LSB or least significant bit, and k minus 1 element or the last element is our MSB or most significant bit. Okay. So we'll have an array of size k to represent a k bit binary counter. Okay. Now this array will basically contain nothing but the binary string 0 or 1. So each element of this array can be either 0 or 1. Okay, which basically is representing the binary counter. Okay. Now initially we will have all the elements as 0, that will eventually represent the counter value as 0, right? Now if we take an example of 5-bit counter, this is what it look like. So a 5-bit counter will be represented by an array which will have index from A0 to A4, right? Where A0 is your LSB and A4 is your MSB or most significant bit, right? Now in this table we have another column which we are telling the CTR. CTR is nothing but the counter value. Okay. So this column basically represent the decimal value of the bit string represented by A0 to A4. Okay. So this column is basically giving us the decimal value of the bit string represented by A0 to A4. Okay. So what we have in this counter, so as you know, in the binary counter circuit there is a trigger, right? Whenever you trigger it or whenever a clock pulse is there, the counter is getting to be going to be incremented, right? So incremented by 1. So here to implement the counter programmatically, we will have an operation which we are going to call increment operation. Okay. So in the increment operation, what will happen? So whenever the increment operation is called on this array A, the bit string represented by A0 to A4 is going to be modified in a way that its decimal value is going to be increased by 1. Okay. So what will happen? So suppose initially we will have all the 0 bits, right? And then if we call the increment operation on this array A, what will happen? The value will be changed like this. So A4 to A1 will be 0 and A0 will be 1. Okay. So 0 0 0 0 1. Okay, which essentially have the decimal value of 1. Right. Similarly, now when the A is in this situation where A4 to A1 is 0 and A0 is 1, which represent the decimal value of 1, and you call the increment operation on A, what will happen? The bit string will be converted to 0 0 0 1 0, which essentially represent the decimal value 2. Now if you again call the increment operation over here, So the bit string will be converted to 00011, and which essentially represent the decimal value of 3. And again, if you do the increment operation, the bit string will going to change like 00100, and the decimal value respective is going to be 4. So in this way, if you keep on calling the increment operation one after another, you can see that the bit string is going to be changed in the way shown in the table, okay, one by one. So this is what we'll have when we are having the increment called in a 5-bit counter. Okay. So now if you look at it, how the bits are changing during each increment call. So if you notice the table carefully, the bit string are changing and there is a pattern, right? So if you look at it closely, you will find that all the bit string, whenever an increment operation is called, all the bits are flipped from LSB to LSB. It means from A0 to A4, the bits are being flipped one by one until a zero is flipped. Okay. So so what it is telling that whenever an increment call is done, the value in the bit string represented by A0 to A4 is going to be increased by 1, and the bit string is going to be uh, flipped, or the bits in the bit string are going to be flipped. How? It will be flipped from LSB to MSB. So this is our LSB and this is our MSB. It means that it is going to be flipped from A0 to A4 one by one until A0 is flipped. So initially we will have all zeros, right? Now whenever the increment operation is called over here, what is happening? You can see that from left side, from we'll first convert the A0 bit. So this is 0, we are converting that 0 to 1. Okay, now since we have converted 1 0, right? Since we have flipped 1 0, right? No other bits from A1 to A2, from A1 to A4 is flipped, right? No other bits are flipped. All were 0, all will remain 0 in the next counter configuration, next bit string, right? Now again, if the increment operation is called, what will happen? So first it will try to flip the uh, value of S0. So it will find that it is 1, it will flip to 0. Now since in the next since it will find that it has not flipped a 0 yet, so what it will do, it will go to the next bit, which is A1, and flip it. Now since this content of A1 is 0, what will happen? It will not further flip the other bits. Okay, so A2, A3, A4 will not be flipped, right? Now if you do another increment call on it, what will happen? So you can see that this 0, so it will first flip the first bit. So here the first bit is 0, so that first bit will be flipped to 1. So since a 0 is flipped, no other bits will be flipped. Okay, so you can see that all the other 4 bits remain same, okay, unchanged. Now again, if the increment operation is called, what will happen? You can see that so it will start flipping from the from A0, right, from LSB to MSB. So it will first flip this one to 0, next this one to 0, and next this 0 to 1. So as soon as it converts the 0 to 1, or as soon as it flip a 0 to 1, it is not going to further flip the other bits, right? So these bits will not be flipped. Okay, and this will continue. Okay, so if you take randomly any example, suppose if you call increment operation over here, what you can see? You can see that this bit is flipped to 0 because it was 1. It was 1 and flipped to 0. It was 1 is and flipped to 0. It was 0 and flipped to 1. And now since it was a 0, so other bits which are remaining will not be flipped. Okay, so you can see that how the increment operation is changing the bits in the bit string represented by the array A, right? So the bits are flipped from LSB to MSB, or over here from A0 to A4 until A0 is flipped. Okay, so now we have got the idea how the increment operation is called, or at this point what we can do, we can write an algorithm which basically implement the increment operation. Okay, so let me clear this. So how this algorithm will look like? So this is how the algorithm will look like. So it will take the the array A as an input. Okay, the increment operation is going to take an array A as an input. The A is nothing but the array which represent the bit string. Okay, and we'll have initially I is equals to 0. I will be used as an index in the array A. And what we are doing, we are having a loop. What we are trying to do in this loop, we are basically in this loop we are trying to flip from LSB to MSB one by one. If one is found, we are going to make it 0, right? So this is what we are doing over here. We are checking if the length of the index is, I mean, if the value of the index is less than the length of the array, and the content and at that index is 1, it means that we have to make it 0, right? So it means that we have to make that AI is equals to 0, and then we are increasing the index by 1. Okay, it means that we are moving towards the MSB from LSB by 1 index. Now again we will check that if it is again in the bit string. Okay, the index is less than the length of the bit string, and again if it is 1, then it will again make it 0, or and then it will increase the index by 1. Okay, now this will continue unless it has covered all the bits in the bit string, or unless a 0 is executed at index I, right? So there are two cases the while loop can be exited. First one is when I less than length a, this condition become false. Okay, it means that so when this condition can become false, this condition will become false when you have all the bit string as 1, right? So in the last example we have 5 bits, right? So so if all the 5 bits are 1, and then if you call the increment operation, what will happen? So this increment operation will convert all the ones from LSB to MSB to 0, right? So it will convert all the ones from LSB to MSB to MSB from 1 to 0. Now once it converts all of them, what will happen? It will find that this length is no longer in the range. Okay, so the index I is getting out of the bit string. So at that point it will stop executing the while loop. Okay, so so this is what it should happen. I mean, if you can remember the counter circuit, if you found that all the bits become 1 in that counter, and if you trigger the counter again, what is going to happen? All the bits are going to be 0. Okay, it is basically going to reset to the 0, right? So this is what it will happen over here again. Okay, so 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 this is one case when the while loop can be exited. Another case is when AI becomes 1, but it has not, I mean, the index has not crossed the limit of the array. Okay, so when AI becomes 0, what will happen? So when AI becomes 0, uh, it means that while it is converting some bit string in the increment operation, it is executed as 0 at some point of time, at some bit. Okay, so then it will get out of the while loop. So these two conditions can occur to get exit from the while loop. Now now if you remember this definition, which is basically defining the increment operation, what we found that until a 0 is flipped. Okay, now we can see that we can the if, I mean, the execution will come to if in two ways. When all the bits were 1, and then the increment operation is called, we will found that the I will cross the limit. Okay, so I less than length of a, this condition will become false. Now if that condition is become false, which is explained over in this example, right? So when all ones become converted to 0 in this while loop, we do not have any bits to convert to 1, right? In this example, so we do not have any bits which we need to convert from 0 to 1, because we all the bits were 1, and we have converted all of them to 0. So in this case, when if the loop is exited using this condition, then we should not have any bits to convert to 1. Okay, so this if will not be executed, because it, and the while loop was executed because this condition was false, and when it come to the if statement after that while loop, it will also find that this statement is false, right? So it will not convert any bit to 1, okay, which is what it should be done. Now if this condition is true, and I mean if the while loop is exited because of this condition becomes false, or at AI it finds that it is 0, then what we have to do, we have to make that 0 to 1, right? So it will check that whether the index is in the range. If the index is in the range, it means that it has executed a 0 in the bits, right, in the bit. So so what it will do, it will make it 1, okay, and finally the program will terminate. So this is how the increment operation works. It will basically flip all the bits from MSB to LSB one by one until a 0 is executed. So until I mean till the point it gets 1, it will keep on flipping them to 0, and once it finds a 0 in the bit string, it will convert it to 1 and stop execution. Okay. Now, if I come to the question of complexity, which we are going to analyze over here, so on which the complexity depends on. So, from your knowledge, you will obviously tell that the complexity depends on the number of time the while loop is going to be executed, right? Now, the question is, how many times the while loop is going to be executed, and obviously you can understand the while loop is going to be executed. Uh, I mean, till the time the bits will be flipped, right? So the complexity will basically depend on the number of bits flipped, right? Right. So the while loop will be executed till the time. I mean, executed the number of time the number of bits will be flipped, right? So if we perform worst case analysis in this example, so what will be the worst case analysis of this increment operation? So since this is a k-bit counter, so this while loop in the example of all the bits become 1, right? In the example of all the bits become 1, this while loop is going to be executed for all the bits, right? So since it is a k-bit binary counter, right? So the worst case complexity is going to be order of k, right? Now what we are trying to find out, we are doing aggregate analysis where we are considering a sequence of n operations, right? A sequence of n operations. So what will be the total complexity in the worst case in if we are considering a sequence of n increment operations? Okay, so if you are considering the sequence of n increment calls, we are having the total complexity of those n calls is order of nk, right? So this is what our worst case analysis is telling us. In the worst case, the increment operation is taking order of k. Now for n increment call, it is going to take order of nk time, right? Now let us look at the aggregate method. So what we will do in the aggregate method? In the aggregate method, we are trying to find out how many bit flips for in total for a sequence of n operations is going to happen. Okay. Now in the worst case analysis, what we are considering that in the worst case it is going to take the it is going to flip all the k bits, right? But in the example, in the 5-bit example I showed you last time, you can see that in all the increment call, not all the bits are flipped, right? Hence, order of n is giving us a upper bound of the increment operation, but that is not tight. Okay, I mean for a sequence of n operations, n increment operations, the order of nk is not a tight upper bound. We can have a much better upper bound for that. Okay, I mean much tighter upper bound for that. So what we will do, we'll try to find out how many bit slip actually occurs in a total sequence of n increments operation. Okay, so let us take the example again. So this was the example shown in the last slide. Okay, now what we are trying to find out here, we are trying to find out how many bit flips is occurring for a sequence of n operations. Okay, so let us check it one by one. So how many times the A0 bit is flipped? Now if you look at this example, so the A0 bit is flipping from 0 to 1, then 1 to 0 again, then 0 to 1 again, then 1 to 0 again. So you can see that every time the increment operation is called, okay, the A0 is going to be flipped, right? So if you have n increment operation call, then A0 bit is going to be flipped for n times, right? So each time the operation is called, A0 bit is going to be flipped. Okay. So for A0 bit we will have n flips. Okay. Next we are going to consider for how many times. So here we can write. So A0 is going to be flip n times if we have n increment called, right? Now how many time the AI bit is going to be flipped. A1 bit is going to be flipped. Okay. Now, if you look at the example for the AI bit, now see the in the first increment call it is not flipped, but in the second increment call it is flipped, right? Now in the third increment call it is not flipped, but in the fourth increment call it is flipped. So in the fifth increment called it is not flipped, but in the sixth one it is flipped. So you can tell or you can see that the A1 bit is flipped in every two calls, right? Every two calls. So over here it is flipped, again over here it is flipped, again over here it is flipped. So every two call it is getting flipped, right? So how many time AI is going to be flipped if there is a sequence of n operations? Obviously n by 2. Okay. So floor of n by 2. So I am not getting into the complexity of floor and ceiling. Let me just tell it. It is taking n by 2 times. Okay. So this is going to take n by 2 times over here, right? So if we have a sequence of n operations, n increment operations, A0 bit is going to be flipped n times, A1 bit is going to be flipped n by 2 times. Now, if we take another example, so what will this A2 bit, how many times the A2 bit is going to be flipped for a sequence of n increment operations? So you can see that for the first three increment call, A2 is not flipped, it is flipped in the fourth call, right? Again, in the next three iteration, it is not in next three increment call, it is not flipped. In the uh, fourth fourth call, it is flipped, right? So in every fourth call, this every fourth increment call, this A2 bit is going to be flipped, right? So we can tell that this A2 bit is going to be flipped n by 4 times, right? Because in every fourth call it is going to be flipped. So for a sequence of n increment operation, this A2 bit is going to be flipped n by 4 times, right? So if we generalize it, what we will found? So how many times this AI bit is can be flipped, right? So if you look at this example, so here we will have n, here we will have n by 2, here we will have n by 4. Now if you take the third bit, we will have 8 calls, right? In the 8 call, it is basically flipped, right? So here we will have n by 8. So you can see the pattern, right, over here. So what is the pattern? So for the ith call, it is basically having n by 2 to the power I, I number of flips, right? So uh, that in general, the ith bit is going to be flipped n by 2 to the power I times, right? So this will give us the idea that uh, which number of bit is going to be flipped how many times, okay, for a sequence of n increment operations. Now since we have generalized it, now what we have to find out? We have to find out okay, so what will be the value of I for the n calls? Got my point? So what will be the value of I for the n calls, or maximum value of I for the n calls? So maximum value of I for the n increment calls is going to be log of n, right? Because see, if I tell you how much time, if I mean for this example, if I tell you that what will be the maximum value of I, means which index value is going to be flipped last. Okay, if we have any more bits after I, we cannot, I mean the bits will not be flipped, okay, for the n operations. So suppose if I tell you that if n is equals to 4, what is the last bit that is going to be flipped? Okay, so the answer is log 4, which is basically 2, right? So if n is equals to 4, it means that uh, it means that the value can I mean if n is equals to 4, yeah. So if n is equals to 4, then the last bit it is having is basically this one, right? So we'll have 4 increment call, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay. So the last bit that can be flipped in the sequence of n call is this one, right, which is log 2. Okay. This is what we have. So what would be the maximum value of I for n increments is log n. Now what we can do, we can now try to find out what will be the total number of bit flips in the sequence of n operations. Okay. So the total number of bit flips in the sequence of n operations is going to be for I is equals to 0 to log n, and since the ai bit is flipped n by 2 to the power I times, right? So the summation of that summation of n by 2 to the power I from I equals to 0 to log n. Okay, because the value of I can be at most log n. Now this quantity, right, this summation can be upper bounded by this expression. What it is telling? So it is taking this n out of that expression over here. Okay, it is taking the n as common, and it is incrementing the range of summation from 0 to log n to 0 to infinite. Okay, and it remains the 1 by 2 to the power I. Okay, and you know that 1 by 2 to the power I summation from I is equals to 0 to infinite is nothing but 2. Okay, so this part from your knowledge of mathematics, you know that summation of I is equals to 0 to infinity 1 by 2 to the power I is nothing but 2, right? So this whole entity n into summation of this is nothing but 2n, which is basically order of n. Okay, so the number of bit flip in a sequence of n increment operation is nothing but order of n, right? What we have found from this aggregate analysis. Hence, as per the aggregate analysis, what we can tell is that the amortized cost of each operation or each increment operation is the average, which is order of n divided by n, that is order of 1. Okay. So the as per the aggregate method or aggregate analysis, we have found that the increment operation has an amortized cost of order of 1, even if it has an worst case complexity of order of n. Okay. So this basically covers the concept of aggregate analysis and the example of the binary counter and analyzing the binary counter using aggregate method. In the next part, we are going to discuss about accounting method.